Hey, welcome back. It's a terrific Tuesday on Liquid Lunch. We had a whopper of an hour one, but when you have a great hour one, you got Scott Levinson and Manny Alejandro coming here and mixing it up. You got to bring in the closer to close out the first hour of today's show. And the Sandman himself is here with us. He's a modern-day Mariano Rivera because your recent article basically closed out the discussion. 3% of the people watched impeachment compared to 30% who watched Clinton. And it's just starting to be like the gun in the cartoons. It's pointed back at the Democrats.
Well, and I think all of the data seems to point to that. I don't know how many polls I've seen now since the inquiry, the public meetings have been concluded, and it seems like they've lost ground in every single one of them, the people that are pro-impeachment. 8 to 11 to 20% in the most recent three that I've seen. So it's kind of interesting.
But the amazing thing is, and it's not amazing because your trajectory and relationship to the president and the family has been growing through your show right here, heard in New York on AM 970, but around the country. And you put out this quite poignant unspoken truth article, and the president agreed.
I didn't. Man, I wish so. People have asked me, what's the formula? How'd you know that he would do it? I had no idea he would do it. But I do think this. I think that the article makes the point that is really the most vital truth as it relates to post-impeachment America, and that is that he never needed Russia to collude with. He never needed Ukraine to investigate anybody. This president won huge in 2016, and he's going to win bigger in 2020. And all of this naysaying nonsense that's going on back and forth about how he needed this and he needed that, it's just baloney.
Trending number one, and Frank Morano had some choice words for how this is affecting you now that your article
I did.
What exactly were those words?
I'm concerned that this is going to go to your head and you're going to be particularly difficult to deal with, as evidenced by the fact
that
you
know that we work together
yes,
in our day job?
As evidence that you asked to pre-tape this segment before the show so that we could accommodate your schedule. Because after all, you're a columnist that gets tweeted by the president
That's
now.
big.
Why
That
shouldn't
was
we
not
pre-tape?
the rationale, although today is particularly media heavy because of that fact. Just today.
We've
Yes,
only
exactly.
pre-recorded like two segments, like Bill O'Reilly and
but the last time I was
Senator
here,
Jim
you were
DeMint.
taping with DeMint.
Jim
so I
DeMint.
thought, well,
We did it because he's mint.
but
That's one of my
Frank
favorite
offered
words.
me this time slot, and this worked with my schedule. So I said, of course I'll come over for JT.
And someone said we had gin.
I'm not going to turn down the gin.
So what are you going to do for an encore? What can you write next to get the president's attention?
I don't think that again, there's no formula to it, but I think if you tell the truth and it makes sense to people, particularly the people that live at the White House, I might have a better chance of having something else tweeted at some point. I don't know.
We are seeing, you pointed out earlier, that the polls were mostly showing that people who were against Trump were for impeachment, right?
Going into the public hearings, the public wanted to know, is there evidence that demonstrates that the president did something wrong? So the difference between the pro and con were only like 2 to 5% in most polls. Coming out of it, that gap has gotten significantly larger.
And the gap between hour one and hour two will not be significantly large. We're going to take a quick break and come back with a whopper of hour two. I want to thank Kevin McCullough for joining us today.
The impossible whopper.
And the impossible burger. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back at you with hour two of Liquid Lunch right after this.